Roll call of attendance, and
Miranda
Hold on
Myrie
just a
here.
moment. Does she need to read?
oh, I have to read
yeah.
this first.
This is what Nancy had to read last time.
All right, then we will start with I, Ann Newt, as the chair of the Milton Free Public Library Board of Trustees, find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am affirming that we are A, providing a public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing the following means to join remotely with the meeting to listen and watch via: number 1, conference call for people who don't have the means to watch the live stream. A, the trustees of the Milton Free Public Library are together meeting at the town hall and have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting. Contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, 1,
Very cleverly.
thank you, participate in this meeting by dialing the toll-free phone number 1-844-855-4444, and upon the prompt, enter access code 145672 and push hashtag or pound sign, or by clicking on the following website address: https://join.freeconferencecall.com/MiltonTA. Number 2, town YouTube live stream. The town's normal live stream broadcast is on its YouTube channel, which can be accessed from the Milton Town website at https://www.miltonnh-us.com, then clicking on the social media tab or by clicking here. Number 3, no public comment period. Please note, this meeting comprises a series of operational and budget suggestions, and while we encourage the public to call in to listen or watch the live stream, there is no public
All participants are muted.
There is no public comment period. So I ask that all callers please mute their phones so we do not get feedback. B, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We posted notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting on Wednesday, April 28th, 2020, including how to access the meeting telephonically and on the YouTube live channel. Instructions have been provided on the website of the Town of Milton. C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there is a problem with access. 1, if anybody has a problem, please call 603-545-4956 or email at miltonta@miltonnh-us.com. D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during the meeting shall be done by roll call. Public participation is required only in the case of a public hearing or quasi-judicial judicial proceeding of a planning board or zoning board of adjustment. Many public bodies are utilizing video teleconferencing technology such as Zoom to ensure the electronic meeting complies with the right-to-know laws and any applicable due process requirements. In certain circumstances, a regular business meeting of the public body may be conducted utilizing audio-only technology. If you have any questions about the appropriateness of the technology utilized to conduct our meeting, please consult your agency counsel or the Attorney General's office. Okay.
Now you're ready.
Now I've run out of breath here. All right, so now we go to the roll call of attendance.
Miranda Myrie, present.
Nancy Drew, present.
Ann Newt present.
Betsy Baker, Library Director, present.
Okay, we have the approval of the minutes of the April 9th, 2020 meeting.
Did you all receive them in email?
have.
Okay. What I'm going to give to you is the draft of the public session meeting, and then we'll go on to the special.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any corrections? Then I move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second. Miranda Myrie, second.
Moved and Newt. All in favor?
I, Miranda Myrie.
I, Ann Newt.
I, Nancy Drew. I have the clean copy
The
to sign.
signatures.
Where does this go next?
Betsy did.
All right, now the non-public.
I'll hand out session 1 first.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we should move to accept these minutes. So I and Newt, will we accept them?
I second. Miranda Myrie.
Okay, let's have a vote.
Miranda Myrie, aye.
Ann Newt, aye.
Nancy Drew, aye.
Okay, these are accepted.
Okay, so these are non-public, so you want to decide at this point if you want to leave them sealed forever for a specific amount of time or make them public. And
I think we could make this particular session, non-public session 1.
I agree,
Public?
because it says that we gave her permission to close the library, and that might be something that somebody would like to know.
Yes, I agree with that.
All right.
Can I, no, it's mine.
Someone's got to make a motion to make these.
I move that we make these, Miranda Myrie, I move that we make these minutes public.
I, Ann Newt, second the motion. Let's have a vote.
Miranda Myrie, aye.
Ann Newt, aye.
Nancy Drew, aye.
And these minutes will now be available to the public.
Okay, if
Do
you
we-
can send me
Do you need this signed?
I have a copy to sign here.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that
None
one
of
I
our
think
drafts,
says
so-
draft on it, but this one doesn't say draft.
No.
Oh,
we
okay,
don't.
this one does say draft on the
Mine
top.
doesn't.
Mine doesn't.
You know, on the very top it does.
Oh, yes,
Right
it does.
here.
Yes,
Oh,
you're absolutely,
yeah.
I didn't, I was looking for the, across the page. You're right.
Okay.
Sorry,
I-
Ann.
This one across the page says confidential, but we don't, I don't think that counts.
Okay, so if you could send me that, as a Word file.
With no confidential on it?
Correct.
But you still want this one, Betsy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so these, our minutes are also supposed to go to the town where they're
Right.
made public. And they need to be done as a Word file rather than PDF.
Yeah, that's what I send them as a Word file.
All right, then, we are on to the librarian's report.
No, special
No.
meeting number 2.
Special meeting number 2, I'm sorry. Then we will receive copies of special meeting number 2.
Okay, this is a draft copy.
Any corrections? Discussion? Do we want to keep these confidential?
I think this part might be because it has to do with salaries, and isn't that normally kept confidential?
Okay. All right. Then I move that we accept these minutes for file as confidential.
Miranda Myrie, I second.
Is there a length of time?
We haven't done that yet. We're gonna first accept them, right?
Right.
Okay. I think we do it 2 parts, Nancy.
Okay. So who moved to accept?
I move.
I seconded.
All in favor of accepting these minutes?
Miranda Myrie, aye.
Ann Newt, aye.
Nancy Drew, aye.
All right, now, we want to keep these minutes confidential. So I move that these minutes be kept confidential for 5 years.
We could do this indefinitely or sealed forever, if you want to make it 5 years, would it?
Betsy, is there a precedent for something like this? We haven't done this before.
What, a year? You know,
I-
well, let's say something like this happens again, and somebody says, well, what did you do last time? You want to be able to have some kind of
You can
access.
unseal the minutes then.
Then,
Oh.
So would we
Okay.
want them indefinitely, and then we could unseal them
Yeah.
if we needed to, or they
Okay.
could unseal them? It wouldn't have to be us, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Does that make sense, Nancy?
does to me.
Okay.
all right, then I'll amend my motion to say that we will keep these minutes sealed indefinitely.
I second the motion. Miranda Myrie.
All in favor?
Miranda Myrie, aye.
Ann Newt, aye.
Nancy Drew, aye.
Okay.
Is there one we need to sign?
Yes, but it does say, confidential.
Now, does,
That's what we
do
did with
we
the
have,
last one.
Yeah.
do we have to send a sealed,
To the town.
what do we do about the town Word document type thing?
That one will not go to the town.
Okay,
Oh,
The paper copy will actually be stored in the town clerk's office.
Okay.
Sealed, rather
okay.
than the library.
So this can keep the confidential on it, right?
Correct,
Okay.
and I can do that as well.
okay. Always new.
Always a lot to learn, but it's good.
that finish the, all the minutes? Yay.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
All right, now we will move on to the librarian's report.
Okay, so I sent you all a copy electronically, so you can review it before, and I will probably be editorializing as I go, but the basics are here. So there's some good news. Oh, and by the way, I didn't provide any circulation numbers because it wasn't really the end of the month. You know, we had, so anyway, first the good news. Our staff has been working hard, cleaning up old cataloging issues and keeping everyone, i.e. the townspeople, our patrons, informed. I meet with the staff once a week to review the work they've done and review what we need to address next. Ruth has been in touch with the Preservation Alliance to keep the renovation plans moving forward. The Preservation Alliance report is the next step in the process, and we cannot apply to LCHIP until we finish this report. The Milton Free Public Library is working with Hoopla to provide more online material for patrons. That's books, graphic books, novels, movies, television series. And there's a couple of things that make Hoopla different than the online downloadable book consortium, and that is that there's no waiting. It is a more costly service it depends on circulation, and so I'm going to see what happens with all of that. But I'm very excited about it. I've received a lot of very good response from it. We have 5 new patrons. The patrons can sign up on our online catalog. I get them their card numbers and a pin so they can go ahead and participate. And we've also I've heard from a number of patrons who have let their cards lapse so that we can get them back up to using these online resources. Twice a week I meet with other state librarians. That's the state library and other public librarians through the state. On Mondays, it's specifically employment issues and that kind of thing. And then on Thursdays, we get into a more broad discussion about libraries under quarantine and looking into the future. Last week I met with the Newt librarians, the Milton Elementary School librarian, and the Milton Rec director. We're trying to figure out, still providing a summer reading program and what it will look like if we're still social distancing. I don't have any hard and fast plans yet. Everything's still developing. But one thing that we came up with involves doing a story walk somewhere on one of the Milton Conservation lands. So I've talked to the Conservation Commission, and so it's a full Milton effort. I've also talked to the superintendent of the Milton schools and just let him know that I'm available if there's something that I can do to help enhance whatever summer program he needs. And at this point, they're still trying to figure it out, just like everyone else. So this isn't necessarily bad news, but I'm starting to look into the future a little bit more and opening up the library. As of right now, all our material says we're going to open May 4th. And the truth is we're not. There's a lot that needs to be done. I have to find personal protective equipment, the OCLC, which is, I wrote this down so I wouldn't the online computer library center, which really it houses the World Catalog and a number of other resources, is doing tests to find out how long this virus lasts on material. So I certainly want to wait for the results of any scientific data before I just fling open the doors. Let's see, I had assumed that we were going to just fling open the doors, you know, everyone comes rushing in, we all start hugging and everyone gets a book. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It will be a phased approach when we're there. I figure, you know, we have to look at just about every angle. Somebody mentioned to me yesterday, what are you gonna do about the patron computers, which were all very close together, that we'll have to rearrange the whole building. So, I want to start thinking about also if we have in the fall another outbreak, and nobody has a crystal ball, but it would be nice to start thinking about plans just in case that happens. And so the reason why I asked Anne to come up with the meeting is to kind of figure out a statement on reopening, and also, and I know I'm not expecting to come up with a full plan today, but just start chewing over a policy or a best practice for any future outbreaks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, let's see, I do have numbers for the overdrive as well. There was 178 transactions, 99 were audiobooks, 1 magazine, and 77 ebooks. The Hoopla platform, I just got up and running there. 5 patrons, 12 checkouts, and that's in like a matter of 3 or 4 days. So, there you go. I'll toss it back to Anne.
Anne, may I speak?
Yes.
Okay. I went to the New Hampshire State Library Zoom meeting that they had on the 24th and the 28th. And so they had some ideas, and there's topics to include in an individual policy that I would just hand you if you'd like to look that over. A lot of what they talked about is what you're already doing with setting up a policy, what you're doing with your money to pay people, partnering with the summer camp and the schools. A lot of the things that you have told us about are exactly the same thing that those librarians talked about. There's lots of schools that have a pandemic plan already in place, and they said to go to the Jaffrey one, but I couldn't get anywhere on their site to find their policy, so we'd have a guide for us to go by. But at least we have the topics of what we should be looking at for our policy, and you're absolutely right. We need to have a policy in place for now, for opening, and for if this ever happens again. Because some of their ideas about opening would be to have someone at the door and only let a certain number of people in. Or have people make an appointment and then be given like 15 minutes to find their books and check out before the next person could come in. So the people you're talking to on your Mondays and Thursdays are the people that I would have seen here, plus the trustees. So you already know a lot of it, but it was new to me. And I am a Hoopla member. I have not used it, but I did sign up for it right away
That's
to see what it
awesome.
was. So thank you for your work on that, because I'm running out of state books to read. One side, you didn't get a bill for our being trustee, part of the bill comes in May because we'd paid before we went to the meeting, so we need to be sure we have someone to sign the check, because neither one of us can technically sign the check yet, but when you get that bill, then we'll get it paid.
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't know if you'd gotten it already.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
And a bank statement?
Not yet.
Okay.
We are all up to date.
To
We're
March.
still in April.
Yeah,
We had March 31st was the last one I
Yeah.
thought we had, so we don't have April.
but this is the
Okay.
last day of April,
Okay,
so
Yeah.
okay, all right, I get,
Yeah,
sometimes I
but
You're
get
ahead of
that.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It, just so you know, it doesn't show up on the first of the
Oh,
month.
No,
course
no,
not.
it
Of
no,
course
it
not.
takes a few days.
Yeah.
And we don't have any more checks, do we? We have plenty, but there's no other checks besides the one register, right?
I believe there's more in the
Okay,
library.
we don't need them. I was just trying to cover all my bases.
Yep.
Thank you, Ann.
All right. Well, so we want to,
I just have a couple of questions. You did a lot of additional information. How much more of that do you want me to include in the librarian's report? I just, if you,
Well, I will reiterate the hoopla and the overdrive numbers in May when I have
Okay.
totals for the month. And so, and I will also, on my report for the month of April, I will also include new patrons and patrons that are
okay,
that way.
so basically you'll give that information again, so I'll just submit this the way it appears here on the paper that you sent on the 27th. Okay. So, I guess, can I move to accept Betsy's library report?
okay, and I'll second that we accept the report as all in favor?
Miranda Myrie, aye.
And Newt, aye.
Nancy, how do you vote?
I thought I said aye. I didn't? Oh, I said Nancy
It was into your
moved.
mask, apparently, your mask
Okay, I said
absorbed it.
all said aye, so Ann seconded it, and we all agreed to, all right.
Okay, so now we want to have our reopening discussion,
Yes.
okay? Of course, we're waiting for the governor to say we can even begin to do this, right?
Yes. My thought, I don't know exactly how to word this, and it was suggested to me that I have the trustees really figure out the wording and
Thanks.
and everything, but is to not have a specific date, but to say we are following best science, that we are waiting for the curve to be a little flatter, to make sure that we have personal equipment and personal protective equipment, and I'm speaking off the cuff, so I'm just gonna-
Cleaning products.
cleaning products. Oh, that reminds me, this is a little off topic, but not really. I am meeting next week with the town administrator and the director of the Public Works. We're going to go through the building and talk about cleaning and talk about what, if anything, we can do to keep that space. But anyway.
But if we back up and start with, the opening of the library is contingent upon, and then it's the list of, is that a reasonable way to say it?
Yes.
I mean, Larry's always done the saying, so I've always kept my mouth quiet, but the opening of the library is contingent upon right? And then you had a list that you gave us. Can you repeat that?
Well, number one would be the governor's,
The state directive?
the state directive, yeah.
Does the town figure in on when we open it too? Is it, because we
Well-
closed according to the town director.
Yes, so it would be,
State and
Is-
town directives?
Yeah, state and town directives.
And Betsy's list of the personal protective equipment, was that what you had first?
Or the science of,
what do we have, good science data, or scientific data. For healthy,
With safety of the employees,
for safety of it,
of the staff,
staff and patrons?
staff and patrons.
all right.
And then you need to know how to clean the products that are coming and going. Did you say something about that?
Well, wouldn't that be in the scientific data?
Or the protection? Are we already covered?
Scientific data for the safety of the staff and patrons. Wouldn't all the cleaning be under safety?
Yeah,
In my mind.
No, that sounds like a good broad, yeah, I like the broad category. When you had your list of what else you were looking at to open the library, what else did you say?
let's see. I think basically having the good scientific data for safety and staff and patrons and materials and procedures, I think.
Okay, so staff, patrons, materials,
And procedures based on said good.
how about procedures to implement them? To
Oh.
implement.
Okay, would somebody repeat that?
Yeah,
please?
can somebody who wrote down read that back
So-
so
Okay,
we
the
can think
opening
about
of the
it?
library is contingent upon state and town directives, comma, good scientific data for the safety of staff and patrons, comma, and material, and procedures to implement, say, good scientific data. Or
I think we can word that a little better. Just good scientific data for the safety of staff, comma, patrons, comma, materials, comma, and the procedures to implement this scientific data.
Or how about something about appropriate measures to reopen? For
Procedures to implement the appropriate measures to reopen? I'm just throwing it out here. I'm not saying it's right.
We're all just trying to say it as clearly as we can. So having never done any of this before, we're all beginner learners.
Okay, and I'm sure we'll change it again. You know, if I give a little statement in the minutes
Mhm.
to reflect what we're discussing right now, and then for the next meeting, when maybe we
Right.
don't have to wear our masks, then we can fine tune it.
What did we have to write for the schools, that thing that we worked on over and over and over again? What was that called?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It's like
A
the
plan,
the
something,
purpose
yeah.
of it, the basic meaning of it, but it's got a term and it took us forever to work it out, but we did it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, the
So-
library also has something
mission
like that.
statement.
Thank you,
A
thank you,
mission
Ann.
statement, yeah.
My goodness,
Okay.
I lost track of
I
that.
read it today.
So, the opening of the library is contingent upon state and town directives, good scientific data for the safety of staff and patrons, and materials, procedures to implement appropriate measures. It sounds like a lot of implement appropriate measures to reopen.
Why don't we leave it at that for today, and we'll
Okay.
all ponder it for the next meeting?
Okay. Wonderful. That's a good one.
Okay. I will also say we will probably be doing staged reopening rather than fling the doors open. That, you know, maybe we unseal the drop box first. And clean whatever has come back in, once we know what that looks like.
Are we gonna clean it or quarantine it?
Quarantine it probably, yes, and
And then clean it?
then clean it, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, we might make appointments for people to use the public computers. We do have 3 or 4 people in town who use them on a regular basis that haven't in the past.
Do we wanna have a policy from the Board of Trustees that during this transition time, we'll only have X number of people in the library, so that when somebody says, but I'm just one more person, you can
Yeah, not about the
fall
family
back on
that-
us and say, well, the trustees said only,
Yeah, but, then the mother with 4 children counts as 5, you know, or does it count as one family?
I think it's a good idea. I don't know that we necessarily want to put in the numbers right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting broad and drilling down. There's a task force at the state level
Okay.
of librarians that are working on best practices for reopening, and they're
Okay.
saying at this point it will be
Okay, can we make a final statement that it says we will rely on the state, something that is developing a plan to use best practices, so
well.
that will kind of give us some
I was
closure.
going to just point out that all along, the state library has been saying that, you know, we're coming up with best practices, we're coming up with ideas and measures. We're not quite there yet, and really, even the governor's task force is not sure
Mhm.
yet how and when to do any of this stuff. So this is just another layer. But what everyone's saying, whether we're talking about the governor's task force or the state task force, is they're going to say that every town is really going to have to make those final decisions. For instance, I know on the governor's task force, he was saying that they may be able to open a lot more businesses in Coos County than in Rockingham County because they're, you know, geographically that much further away from Massachusetts, and presumably, you know, you don't have like people popping over the border saying, oh, New Hampshire's open, we get to go to restaurants. And
Do we want to just make a general statement that we're working on establishing a policy? What
Yeah,
are you
based
looking
on the
for,
best
Nancy?
practices and guidance from the state
okay.
library. Okay, so give me the words. Okay,
The trustees, along with the librarian, are working to establish, don't write I don't like it, I like it when Larry did it. Policies and procedures, is that what we're doing?
yeah?
best practices or something.
Okay,
So you want policies and procedures because that gets into the.
Does
But,
matter to
but
me.
if you say policies and procedures, these would be things that would be in effect for the next pandemic. If you
so we
say-
need that word in there, that it's
If you
not
s-
policies and procedures for the library, but it's for a pandemic policy and procedures?
I would think, yeah.
Okay, good.
That the trustees and the librarian are working on policies and procedures
To be used?
to implement best practices for pandemics. I think.
Well, let's try, because I think we're gonna look at these in print and then maybe be easier for us to rework them after we
Yeah.
see them written
Mhm.
down and get a chance to use our thesaurus to find the right words.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would like to have some kind of statement for, we put out a newsletter. We were doing it monthly before this all hit. We put out a couple since then, but we wanted to have something, because right now, all of everything on the door and on the drop back box says May 4th. What I'd like to do is just kind of pivot a little bit and have a statement.
What did we already say about it,
Yeah.
reopening?
Yeah,
That it's contingent upon, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
weren't gonna
Yeah.
put a date on it?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, all right.
But does that fulfill your needs, Betsy?
Uh,
And,
Or
and
do you
then,
need another- you
then,
need something
you know,
else?
we'll
no,
just have,
I'll use that.
and then we'll just have to say, you know, when we meet in
Yeah.
May,
We'll
we'll
talk
see
about it.
what, because the governor's supposed to announce something tomorrow.
It's supposed to be announcing. He keeps on teasing it. I know why, because, you know, he doesn't know any more than anyone else
Mhm,
what
mhm.
would be the smartest, what is
Well-
the smartest thing to do.
And the other problem is Massachusetts is on lockdown till May 18th, but Maine is on till May 31st, so, you know, I don't know what to do about that.
All right, so if we've got that first notice about the materials to implement, blah, blah, we will be doing stage reopening. The trustees and librarian are working to establish policies and procedures to implement in case of future pandemic. Does that cover it?
I think so. And then we can go looking for that Jaffrey.
Okay,
Now, did you say Jaffrey School or Jaffrey
the
Public?
town librarian, I can't remember what her name was, but she was up in this corner and she's got dark hair and glasses. I'm sure you know who she is. But other libraries are working on the same thing, so it's always nice to have a template to go by.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you for getting particulars of that.
Oh, it was absolutely awful, but that's okay because it was sitting in one chair in one spot, looking at yourself for an hour and a half. I
Oh.
do not like that at all. I don't know how people can stand it. I had to finally turn my picture off and get up and move a little bit because it was too long for me to sit. But it was very interesting to see what other people were doing, and I did not say one word. I was good.
Oh, I don't speak up at those meetings.
There were
Either.
I think there were 90 people on the Zoom meeting, so it was like on
Wow.
3 screens.
Mm.
So, but they did a very nice job of it. Bert and somebody else, some lady, starts with a K. Don't know. But anyway, good. I'm glad I was able to participate.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to discuss about the reopening?
Not,
You're investigating getting the appropriate safety materials,
Yes.
whatever they might be. And-
yes,
And the budget can cover that, or the library budget?
It should be. I left the state library meeting and they were discussing sourcing PPE. And the other thing is right now, you know, there are other facilities that need the PPE, personal protective equipment, more than
Mm-hmm.
closed libraries. So I started looking a couple of days ago, and I called a couple of places, janitorial supplies that had, you know, many types of gloves, and I called and I said, so do you have them? And they said, nope. So,
There's no way to group buy it through the town
well, that's,
or the
Well-
school, or somebody else must be doing the same thing and.
Or the
we could-
library.
that was what the meeting that I just led, they were talking about, group buy. Belong to several different buying consortiums. I will be talking to Ernie about
Okay, good.
the town sourcing this. Well, I have, but I will more.
Are we considering asking patrons to come in wearing masks, have hand sanitizers for everybody to use as they come in, type
Yes,
stuff like that?
yes, that's all stuff I'm sourcing.
If we can find it.
But
And,
if,
and I did, somebody had sent me, there's a group of people that's I'm sure, lots of groups of people that are making masks
Mhm.
and giving them away. These are not full surgical medical masks, but what they said was maybe your library can get some for patrons that come in without masks.
but shouldn't we ask the patrons to come with masks and then, if they're desperate, then you could give them one? Because if we're all gonna be wearing masks for a while here, most people hopefully are able to get them.
I'm not sure that I'm sure you've seen this if you go into the grocery store, not everyone is wearing a mask.
It hasn't been required, but other places in the country have started requiring, like where Mike is in Palm Beach, they all have to wear a mask whenever they go into a public space.
Well, that's
Right.
what Maine is talking about too.
Right.
So,
I'm not sure the library can require it. And this is
Why-
anecdotal, my husband works for
Goodbye.
Home Depot, and there are people that are making a big show about not wearing their mask and not needing to wear a mask, and the 6-foot distance is ridiculous, and, I need to be up close and personal, and.
So could we have a sign that says we request, not insist? We request, and like I belong to a sewing group that's been making masks for an ambulance group, but we could make more masks and we could have some just sitting there for people to take. We're just making them and giving them away.
Not to use and give back.
no,
No.
we don't want them back.
They can take them and,
Okay, so we're kind of like, please wear, but if you don't wear, we'll provide.
yeah, if you don't have one, we'll provide, and it's yours to keep. I don't know about children. The other problem is
Yeah, they're germy little things, and it's very difficult to keep masks on toddlers.
toddlers, yeah.
But I think we just do the best we can.
Yeah.
And extra cleaning after they leave.
Well, at least they all love to put on hand sanitizer in great quantity. Anything else we wanna, can we help you with?
I guess, are we all set by approving the minutes of the 9th meeting, the meeting on the 9th? Or before then, that Larry was requesting, he had the proof to take the selectmen to show that, yes, we did invite him to be at the.
But they haven't been sworn, did they do a swearing in online or anything for, So he's official?
They've got some kind of measures in place.
so he should be,
But he needed to have those.
right.
Minutes.
But after he had those, then hopefully he's part of our group?
I think,
Yes.
it's in my mind that they have not officially appointed him yet, but I don't know why it's in my mind. But
Well-
that was going to happen at the next meeting.
Yes, they're waiting for those minutes to be.
So we have those minutes, so we're set.
Yes.
I thought we did that last time. Didn't we approve
We
him?
voted in, but that's the minutes that we
Okay.
approved.
Yeah, the
All
minutes
right.
just
So
got
we
approved
had to
in
have-
this
Okay.
meeting. So,
Thank you.
Yes, welcome to municipal.
Heaven, yeah, or hell, whichever.
You know you're being recorded.
Oh, that was Randy
Did
Myers
anybody
comment.
watch it after?
What?
Did anybody
No.
watch us? Oh, it's
don't.
really disconcerting.
Okay.
No, I never like to watch myself. All right, anything else to bring before the meeting?
Well, I did put on here, public comment, but obviously
That's not gonna happen.
that's not gonna happen. So before, when we're ready to go into non-public, we wanna make sure that.
Everything's turned off.
All right, then are we at that point? I think we are, so I don't know how to turn these things off, but we need to do
Well,
that.
Bernie
So
was
I
up.
think you have to,
We need to vote
We
on
have to
closing the
adjourn.
meeting?
Well, first we'll have to, yes,
Okay,
so,
so I move that we close the public session of today's meeting. Miranda Myrie,
okay.
is that right?
I think it's just a matter of,
And I
Picking
second,
it up
and
again.
Newt? All in favor?
Miranda Myrie, aye?
And Newt, aye?
Nancy Drew, aye.
All right. I think we just hung up.
all right, that